23 over there on, where that old store was. But anyway, it was back in March.
Was it the Adam Nash one? Because that one was back then.
Yeah, that sign's still up. I saw it today. The world.
I know the two on Hanley Road is done down, cause I come out there, there wasn't one up there.
Oh, wow.
They done took them down.
Well, good.
Yeah.
They actually listened to me.
There's one on the, Booger Hill Road, it's still up, so.
Yeah, he didn't even attend the meeting last night. He thought it was tonight when I called him, Mr. Fred Hall. He said, well, the other meeting was on Tuesday. I thought this was.
William says unfortunately something has come up,
Okay.
Okay.
Well, before you start, could I just ask a quick question, everyone? I never found the one on soil Patterson Road. Do you want to come talk about that? We do have one on soil Patterson Road, don't we? Yeah, number 2, Chandler.
That's interesting you should say that. I believe it's on, what's the other road?
But I went, all the way from one end to the other, and back.
And you haven't found it yet?
Never, no, because it's 0, so I mean, there's no mailing address. I understand that, but there should be a sign up, right? But anyway, I just wondered if it was an easy fix if someone found it.
No.
Well, I haven't really done the map study and all that sort of stuff. It's on there.
Mr. Gandy, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jonathan said the property butts up to 2 different roads, and the gentleman put it on the road where he's actually gonna have his driveway.
I understand.
Because I think he bought it from someone, and they had it on record as far as Patterson Road.
Yep, that clarifies that. I'll look on the map.
It fronts on Jones Matthews Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like that one we had last time that the guy didn't show up. Turned down that off of 72. And I went out through that and the road's going everywhere. One going this way, one, what's wrong with that? But anyway, let's call the monthly meeting to order. We don't have any visitors or anything tonight, so we'll open up as usual with a word of prayer, then we'll get started. Let's get out of here. Kenneth, you want to?
Yeah. Oh, gracious Father, we thank you for the blessings you have bestowed on us this week, oh Lord. We just ask that you protect us and guide us and walk with us in our decisions. We just ask you to be with this country, oh Lord, and be with everyone in this country. That we all be true love to God. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Kenneth. All right. We've already talked a little bit about what went on last night, so everybody's kind of up to speed on that. Well, everything was approved except for 2. The going from a minimum from 4 acre back to 2 acre failed because they said they wanted to wait until they got a recommendation from the consultants.
So it wasn't tabled, it was fixed.
It failed.
Okay.
Because they had to vote on it. It failed.
Oh, okay.
It failed. So it may come back up and it may not. I mean, it failed. The second one was the gentleman that was asking for, on Henley Road, asking for a mobile home to be put. That one failed, but they made a recommendation to him that he come back and ask for a special
Medical hardship.
a medical hardship.
Oh.
Uh,
But I'm sorry.
and he kind of agreed to that.
No, sir, I spoke with him today, and he is afraid that if he puts a home there, his neighbors will start a civil suit against him, because they're saying it's in the deeds that, property can't have more than one home.
Right.
So he's very, downhearted and just, had pretty much given up on it.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought last night when he was saying he would agree to the medical hardship and all that kind of stuff, so. And I thought they had said they had talked to the attorneys and said it was no longer enforced. But
I think what I understood, the county can't enforce it, the restrictions.
No,
That's correct.
no, and they explained that to them.
Yeah.
They could not enforce these restrictions, but in a civil matter, the neighbors can have to go after them because of, it is in the deed. Now, how long that lasts, I don't know, in a way, but that's not even part of, but just from a personal standpoint, I feel for the family. So I don't know what.
They were pretty upset, they were sitting in front of me, crying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because, I mean, just like that lady, she didn't have any feelings towards him. She talked about, well, find some places, what he's supposed to just move his mother and everybody. I mean, that's so inconsiderate.
Yeah. But, we did our part. We recommended what we thought. The commissioners, I guess, did what they thought was proper in recommending the medical hardship. And it's kind of like Dennis Adams and I had a conversation as soon as it was over, and I told him that, to me, I feel for people, and to me that was just a piece of dirt. But that's just me. So, but anyway, that's what happened. So, getting into tonight's meeting, I need to get an approval or a motion to approve the February 6th meeting and the February 20th public hearing meeting. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve in second. The two meetings, February 6th and February 20th public hearing. Any discussion? Stephanie?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, minutes have been approved. All right, the number one was to consider the final plat. That's off the agenda because that was handled last night, in the Board of Commissioners meeting.
So they approved that.
It was approved. Okay. Tracy, zoning, discussion of zoning application for March 19th, 2024 public hearing, and we'll turn it over to you.
Okay, first up is Ronald and Nancy Garrison. They are requesting to rezone their 9.08 acres from A1 to AR to allow a split to give their son for a home site and to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations. Property is located at 822 Five Points Road in Danielsville on map 8, parcel 4 in District 2. And what's going on here is he's wanting to gift his son 5.08 acres for a home site, and he plans to retain the remaining 4 acres where he currently lives. If this is approved, this will also bring the property into compliance, as right now it's a 9-acre tract and an A1, so it's lawfully non-conforming. Both tracts have ample road frontage, but due to road frontage terrain, they both will use the existing easement. The easement also provides access to his back property, but there are no homes located on it. So that would get to, I was informed that it would not have to go through the driveway ordinance, and then I was told in February that it will have to go through the driveway ordinance and bring it up to county standards. And I was told by Christopher not to mention that until the public hearing to the property owner.
So he owns that property 10.7 something.
Mm-hmm. I mean.
Is there
on
any
paper.
particular reason that wouldn't be mentioned to the property owner? To the public hearing?
I would think it would need to be, but I was instructed not to.
Not to what?
Not to mention it to him until the public
I
hearing.
know, I forgot, what did you?
That he will have to fall into the driveway ordinance where he will have to pave the road and have it set to county standards. Because there will be, and actually, it's only accessing 2 homes.
Yeah.
And that third lot back there does not have a home, and our driveway ordinance says if it's family, it's only 2 homes, and I feel that it should be exempt from this. But,
What Mike said about it. So you have any comments on it?
I have not ran that by him, but I will make a note and do so tomorrow.
Well, both the 4 and the 5 acres have frontage on 5 Points Road. I mean, just to do a driveway, you know, personal little, not a road or anything.
What property he owns on the backside of it?
Let's see, let me pull up the tax map.
10.71 acres.
Right here, I've got the map pulled up. But, and on paper, he has ample road frontage,
Yeah.
but due to that terrain, he's not able to access it.
No.
So what is the train, that little thing right there?
I think it falls along here on the main road.
You can't see it.
Oh, what's
Right.
behind that, what's that little, looks like a road or something? What's that right there?
And you know, I don't know, these are just in the tax maps, I don't know how it come to be.
I was gonna mention that, I did look at an aerial
Mhm.
on that, and it looks to me like I was gonna ask, is the property next door, that's farthest to the north, that big part
Uh-huh.
where that little road goes? Are the people that live on that property, do they access that road through that yellow part? If that's the case, then that just adds another home.
Yeah.
Being used for.
Well, that's what I was asking, is that the road he's talking about to access his back property? He has an easement to. Is that?
So I may call Mr. Garrison and find out if that accesses 3 homes.
I feel like we've had this issue before with not really understanding our roads.
Well-
And we're telling some people some things, some the other, like, I feel like we need to get some clarification on
Absolutely.
existing.
And I did, I finally, I was having that, I was going through Christopher through all those decisions. But, I had it printed out, so if you're not related, you can only have 1 home on a road. So if you got 2 or 3, it has to be brought up to county standards. If you're related, you can have up to 2, but not 3, without having to pay that third lot.
What about that they had last night to rezone? It gotta be brought up, you know, the one on the Booger Hill Road, where they had 4 properties.
Only 2 of them, though, use the road.
Yeah.
You own 2,
The others go directly to Booger Hill.
And they were related.
So it's related to homes?
Mm-hmm. And then non-related, just 1.
Stephanie, I wondered about this private drive ordinance. It's not in our ordinance, it's found in the county ordinance. If you'll go to that,
Okay.
it's pretty clear. I mean, that's been redone and the commissioners approved it. I didn't know it.
And Stephanie, if you want to come by, I've got that printed out.
Yeah.
But it clears up a lot of questions that did come in. But it needs to be in our ordinance.
It does.
And it should be stated to when the applicant comes in and got a situation like that, they should have the ordinance too right there with them.
Right.
And not wait to tell them to come to the meeting, tell them,
I agree.
then tell
But that can affect the whole decision.
them. Yeah.
Well, just as much as we want all the information, they should have all the information up front too.
I agree, and I'll start doing that. I was just advised not to.
Do you know how this 9.0 acres is to be split? I mean, they don't have, it's got a drawing there.
Right, it's gonna be split, the son's getting 5.08.
Okay, I got you, I see it now.
Okay,
So it's getting 5.48 and those, okay.
But you saying both of them have access to a road, the main road?
mhm.
They have access to main road, but there's something there, a terrain or something that won't let them.
There's probably a ditch or
Yeah,
something that they
yeah,
don't
for the
wanna
driveway.
spend the money, it would cost so much money to put a new driveway in, that
Because
they just
it's
use
a
the
deep ditch,
Yeah.
you gotta get a big sewer
pipe in there and all
pipe.
that, so.
So they'd have to come from another access.
There's already one driveway to the property.
Well, I haven't been out there, but that's what we're saying, this is it?
No, the
The dotted
driveway's
line.
on,
Oh, okay.
it's on the road right here somewhere though.
Oh,
But if they split it in half,
yeah.
the driveway, it can't put it because one of them got bad terrain.
But in this case, they're related.
Yeah, that's where we need clarification.
Mhm.
It plainly states in the new private drive ordinance that you can put two lots or two homes on the drive as long as they're related.
That was the only.
It says two homes, so if there's not a home on that back one, then.
Yeah, see, that's what I
When
was
they, if they
saying.
come to put a house on
Then it
that
would
one,
have-
that's when they'd have to update it.
Mhm.
You know, and I think we had this conversation in January about the one on 29, the guy gonna redo the,
Hotel.
motel,
Mhm.
about having to
Mhm.
put a county drive in there to get all 4 homes, and I don't know how it come about, if he decided to come off 29 on all 4 of them or what.
Right, DOT instructed that.
Yeah.
They made him have a shared driveway for that.
Do they have to come back before us?
No, ma'am.
So they won't be enforced.
So
Well, their plat has to be approved.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So they're gonna use the easement to get back to his other 10 acres,
Yes, sir. That's currently being used now, yes.
to get to his other 10 acres.
Uh-huh.
Well, I guess I'm asking the same question. At least that 50-point-something acres is that how they get to it?
Yeah. It just looks on the aerial like there is a path that comes off of where this easement is and goes over to that adjacent property. But if it's a road, I don't know.
You know, there's a strip, when it looks on this map, there's a strip between the 50 acres and the 10 acres, it goes all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Right there.
yeah, it goes all the way back to that big property, it goes back to, the bonds is back in there somewhere or another. The Franklin County line, a strip right between the 50 and the 10 acres. It's a narrow strip. Is that an easement too, or is that, whose land is that?
I can dig into that and see. These maps are very old, so it may not even be.
Yeah.
Let me see what Q Public map.
Yeah, so we can
present to this public hearing with the guy.
we can ask them, you know, so we'll finally figure it out.
That's not really clear to help us on there.
And I haven't been out there and looked at that, so I'll go look at it. Maybe I can figure it out when I look at it. But anyway, I think our unanswered questions can be answered by the applicant. They show up, and then you'll dig into it some more, I'm sure.
Yes, sir, I will. I'll call the applicant and, Mr. Pruitt tomorrow.
Okay. Let's go on to the next one.
Okay, next up is Scott Chandler. He is requesting to rezone a portion of his 57.481 acres from A1 to A2 to allow the property to be split back into 2 separate parcels for tax purposes, and the remaining acreage will stay in the A1 zone. Property is located at 0 Sorrow Patterson Road in Culver on map 45, parcel 139 in District 5. And what had happened, this property has always been in 2 separate tracts until August of 2023. So last August, he combined them, and in doing so, he created a breach to his Cuba contract. So now he's wanting to correct that issue and wanting to split them back into 2 tracts of 22.860 and 34.62 acres. Due to parcel sizes, the 22.860 acres will need to go to A2, and the 34.62 acres will remain A1. His daughter is planning to build on the larger tract.
The address of this property is Sorrow Patterson. Do you know how they're gonna gain access to that 34-acre parcel? Off of Jones Matthews, or, because they're landlocking it.
Right. Let's see, here's the site plan.
There's both things added together.
Oh.
Yeah, you see
I don't know why the address is Sorrow Patterson, because it didn't even touch it, but maybe a larger parcel did one time.
Yeah, Q Public even had the wrong acreage. They had 34.62 on it, and I had to correct it to 57.481. So I think maybe the road wasn't correct too.
There's no houses on either of these properties
No, sir,
at the present time,
at the present time.
but she's planning on building, or her daughter's planning on building.
On that large tract.
So they got a private cemetery.
Yes, he got an easement on the drive. I say there's an easement to the cemetery that.
Well, if she's planning on building, then they'll have to deal with that when that time comes. Right now, we're just asking to do the land.
Yeah.
And the way these driveways, easements, if they don't have to go through us, the way they get caught is they have to go through a plat approval before being recorded. And I will have to look at each one with an easement and ask how many homes are on it. And that's our checks and balance system.
Okay. So he wants to put this back together so he can get back on Cooper.
He's wanting to split it out. It was split and he combined it, and now he's needing to split it out again. So it won't breach. We've been seeing a lot of those lately.
They give them some bad advice.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Any further questions?
Okay, Gloria Neely, applicant for her sister Angela Neely, is requesting to rezone a portion of her 18.37 acres from A2 to AR to allow a portion of the land to be split to gift her sister, and the remaining acreage will stay in the A2 zone. Property is located at 8443 Nowhere Road in Hull on map 15, parcel 92 in District 1. And what's going on here is Angela is wanting to gift her sister 4 acres for a home site, which will require a portion of the property to be rezoned to AR. Now, the remaining 14.37 acres will stay in the A2 due to its size. There's an existing easement on the property, but the 4-acre tract will have its own driveway off of Beck Road. So we won't run into the easement problem here.
Questions about that? All right, we'll go to the next.
Okay. I'm sorry, let me get caught up with these site plans. If you wanted to see the, site plan for that is this, the 4-acre tract. And she'll be accessing off Beck. All right, so, next up is James and Jenny Clemens, and they're requesting to rezone their 5.62 acres from A2 to AR to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations after a portion of the property is split out for a proposed private cemetery. The property is located at 220 Jasmine Drive in Hull on map 46, parcel 52F in District 3. And, let's see, he's just wanting to create a private cemetery on the property, just to allow him and his wife to be buried on it. He's not expecting any more, just him and his wife. He will have to adhere to the private cemetery requirements, which requires the cemetery to be split into its own tract. There is no minimum acreage requirement when it comes to cemeteries. He is only planning on a small area that will accommodate 2 graves for him and his wife. And so tonight we don't know the acreage that's going to be split out, but due to the fact that it's in an A2 zone and it's only 5.63 acres, we definitely will need to change that to AR, because we know it will be at least 4 acres, because he's not cutting out not even an acre. So we're safe to say, okay, AR is good. And that is all we're considering tonight, or will be considering at the public hearing. Now, once the rezone is passed, if approved, he will have to submit a perpetual care plan and a and a site plan that creates the cemetery, and it will have to be passed by both boards, and a survey has to be done at that point. So right now, we're just focusing on that rezone, and then the others will come later.
So a cemetery can be in the AR?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know we said something about we had to put up didn't we pass that where you had to put up a fence or something?
Yes, there is a world of things you have to do.
Mm-hmm. But he'll have to worry about that.
Right.
But because can he use the driveway to access the cemetery, or is that a reason?
I don't know that. I believe it has to have its own driveway, because it always has to be accessible.
To the public.
Yes.
Even though it's a private driveway, or private.
No, I don't do that.
It's all right here. It makes a lot of
I
noise.
thought it was raining.
I know, it sounds like it.
Well,
It varies for the reason.
We have to look in our order for cemetery, but it should
But-
have its own price.
but that's a discussion for another day.
Right.
Says ingress and egress to and from the cemetery must be available by public road or private drive.
Thank you, Lee.
You don't have to pave it, dude.
It'll be a shared private drive.
That's what I said.
It can be a shared private.
See, private drive.
Yeah.
That's
Tracy, I wanted to bring something to your
it gets
attention.
pretty deep.
I don't know if this is a typo or I'm looking at it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but under AR
Yes,
for
sir.
the permitted uses on page 87, 73115, it says public cemeteries provided the requirements of section 97 are met. Under permitted, on the chart, it says public cemeteries are conditional. I'm thinking that's supposed to be private and not public cemetery.
Okay, I bet that's it.
That makes sense.
that would require an amendment, because, I guess when it was originally typed, it was typed as typo.
Public cemetery, private cemeteries can go in virtually any zone, but public cemeteries go in A2s and ARs condition.
Okay,
Matrix is,
all right, thank you. Yeah, that's good.
technicality, might not take advantage of.
True, yeah, true. So this is his site plan, it's not professionally done, but this is about the location of it.
Well, don't matter.
Right.
At
Just a reason
At
right now.
this point, it doesn't matter, just a reason.
It don't take much for a square.
You got that right.
I know I used to lay them out at North Chapel.
Okay.
I'm
Number
surprised,
5.
I'm surprised we don't get more of these. You know,
About a cemetery?
the cost of burials and things like that these days, I'm just surprised people don't want to have burials somewhere like that.
I think it happens when they
Oh,
Well, I think if we careful they start doing that, they ain't gonna go to the proper channels.
Yeah.
Cause people just gonna go out there and dig a hole.
That's right.
That's where they gonna lay it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of that happens.
They never find a hole, back loophole.
okay.
All right, next. Okay. We have got Tiffany and Tyler Stone. They are requesting to rezone their 17.95 acres from A1 to AR and A2. So this is a dual rezone. They are rezoning a portion of the property from A1 to AR to split sale and to rezone the remaining acreage from A1 to A2 to retain and bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations. Property is located at 0 Jones Chapel Shallow Road in Danielsville on Map 49, parcel 58A in District 4. And what we have here is, of course, as I mentioned, it's a dual rezone. They want to split 7.95 acres to sell, which will require the AR zone, and they will be retaining the remaining 10 acres to build on the property. The 10-acre tract will need to go to A2 to bring it into compliance with zoning regulations. Both tracts have ample road frontage, so there'll be no easement on this one.
Okay.
I will draw
Questions on that one?
I will draw your attention to this. Next to the 10 acres where it says Denver Phillips, that's that racetrack complex up there. And I believe part of that racetrack actually encroaches over on this property according to the aerial map.
Really?
Yeah. So
Nice.
I don't know what he's gonna do with these properties, but I can't imagine somebody wants to build a house right
I know.
there. That's a-
Yes, because she had mentioned, I hope they don't decide to start that up again.
Yeah, it's not in operation right now.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, it's been.
Hasn't been in operation for about a year now.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah, it's still there, and
that. Okay.
the guy across the street wants to buy it, burn it, tear it down.
Yeah.
Maybe
Exactly.
that run them off before now.
Well, the person that owned it died, and somebody in the family got it, and they got in the family feud about it, and that's why it's not in operation. But anyway. Any questions, anything else on that one? Okay.
Are we ready for the next
Number
one?
6.
Okay, Bill F. Allgood is requesting to rezone his 38.14 acres from A1 to A2 to allow the property to be split into 2 tracts for sale. Property is located at 0 River Road in Carlton on map 109, parcel 3 in District 4. So this used to be one tract of land, and the road comes through to split the property. But as you know, we have to recognize that as one whole tract, even though the road splits it. So he's just collected the amount of acreage that's left in each tract, and he's just wanting to split it off to sell. So it's gonna be a 23.82 acre tract and a 19.13 acre tract. Ample road frontage, so.
So there's no house?
No, ma'am, there's just an outbuilding on it.
No.
So it looks like what happened, this was all one parcel, and they put the 4-lane through there, split it in half.
Mm-hmm, that's it.
And he just wants to have them two different properties.
That's right.
Well, how come they didn't do that when the highway went through? Yeah,
Well, now he's wanting to sell it, evidently. If he just wants to sell it, then he really care. All right. Number 7.
Okay, number 7, Franklin Hall, and, applicant for his nephew Corey Hall is requesting to rezone his 15.43 acres from A1 to 8R to allow a portion to be split and gifted to his uncle for inheritance purposes. Property is located at 0 Gunnell Road in Comer on map 68, parcel 6701 in District 2. Now, this one has come before us, and he had forgotten one of the meetings, so we had to put him back on the schedule. So we've got him there now. So basically, Corey Hall wants to gift his uncle Franklin Hall 5.5 acres for his inheritance purposes. Franklin will be gifting the land to his son once received. The rezone will allow for the property to be brought into compliance with zoning regulations. So that's basically it. They're just wanting to split that out for inheritance.
Well, it's, Franklin Hall, he got an access driveway to off of, Gone Road.
Mm-hmm. And since they're kin, they can have two.
This was the one that we got squared away about his money and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
He has to pay twice.
That got refunded.
So the easement that is here, this 30-foot access easement across Corey Hall's 1.48 acres
Mm-hmm.
on the road,
Yes, sir.
that's how he's wanting to access that property?
Right.
So the property that's to the left is what is left. The 9.93 is what is remaining after he splits off this 5.5.
I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Off to the left there is
Uh-huh.
what is left
Yes.
of the property.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Okay. And it will have road frontage, like 150 feet of road frontage. I'm just trying to find a way, instead of using that easement, since he's got property left, is there not a way that he can access the road without an easement?
I'm sorry.
You don't have enough acres for A.
I think that,
It's 1.5 up
oh, let's see.
So that's already a parcel.
That actually isn't the parcel it was split off from, because it was split from map 84, parcel 80, and this is map 68, parcel 6701. So they're just referencing how much acreage is on this side.
Oh, okay.
So the 5.5 acres is not split off of a larger tract, is that what you're saying?
Right here, this is where it was split from.
The 15.
15.432.
Yeah, so what's left is 9.93 that comes around this side. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
Here's saying,
So I guess what I was trying to do is I saw he had an easement, when the rest of the property is gonna be left, clearly fronts the road. Is there not a way for him to have a way of having some road frontage for this landlocked parcel with his existing property and not have to have an easement across an acre and a half lot?
Right.
There'd be no other way you can get that.
Right here on his property. This is his property as well. Next door.
Where?
Next door. This is what's left.
Oh, right there.
So he's got this.
Oh, you're saying it's just usual one over there.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't have to. One of those things, it's just another reason.
It is,
We're
but
handing them out like candy.
when it, well, these are existing, so we're not handing them out. But I think just with the cost of everything now, I mean, even to put in a gravel driveway
Yeah.
is costing an arm
Yeah.
and a leg, so maybe it may be future plans that they put one in, but.
No matter Boulder County quit putting them in, it wasn't expensive as it was now, since they quit it.
Wishful thinking. Okay.
All right, the last one of the evening. On the repo.
All right.
I'm accusing myself of this.
You're accusing yourself of this one. His name was not Sartain, not Sartain.
Huh?
See, your last name wasn't Sartain or Sartain?
No, but it's next to my husband.
Okay.
Okay, so Matt and Sandy Sarton are requesting to rezone their 19.5 acres from A1 to AR and A2. It's a dual rezone. They are rezoning a portion of the property from A1 to AR to split for financing purposes and to rezone the remaining acreage from A1 to A2 to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations. Property is located at 1776 Highway 72 West in Comer on map 84, parcel 80 in District 5. And, so they're wanting to rezone 4 acres to AR to split for the financing purposes, and they have a new home under construction as of now.
Yeah.
They're wanting to rezone the remaining 15.5 acres to A2, and that's just to bring it into compliance due to the acreage size. They are retaining both tracts. It is in Cuba, but it's no breach.
Have you seen that home?
Big thing.
Oh, my God.
Big,
that thing.
big on the hill, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a big.
I thought you had to, didn't they have to come in first before they start doing it?
Building permit.
Yeah. And they were able to get one because there was no home on it, so
Oh.
they don't have to wait for the rezone.
So if they're cutting out 4 acres around that house, apparently they started construction and then now they need to cut that out for financing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I can see why that house was like, Ponderosa.
Any further discussion or questions on this one? All right. Item number 3.
Okay,
Discussion of accessory dwelling units. Before you get into that, I think you got something to say.
Well, I brought it up, I'll kick it off if you want me to.
All right.
I was going to suggest kind of putting this off until, and letting, CPL kind of deal with it. We had a meeting the other day, and they're very interested in knowing the issues that we have at hand and are willing to put those on the table to be dealt with. However, I will tell you, I mean, if we want to talk about it, that's fine, but my concern with accessory dwelling units is that it plainly states that not more than one single-family dwelling will be allowed on a lot unless permitted by an ADU or for humanitarian reasons. Right? So it's clear that the intent is to have one single-family dwelling per parcel. But with our accessory dwelling unit situation, it looks to me like, and it's been this way since I came on the board, it seems to me like we're getting away from what I understand by looking at other ordinances and other counties as to what accessory dwelling units are. They're supposed to be accessory, meaning they complement the main structure. You know, a separate garage with an apartment over it, or something that complements the main structure. That's why it's called accessory. But what we're doing is we're virtually okaying independent homes on the backside of the property, mostly for family members, yes. But it's like we're allowing two dwellings on a parcel. Two decent-sized homes, separate, independent from one another on a parcel. I'm kind of concerned with where we're going with that. If someone were to come in and say that they're building it for their son or whatever, and they want to build a home, same size or a little smaller, I know that's been an issue, on the backside of the property, we'll grant them an accessory dwelling unit to do that. So virtually, there's
Not necessarily, it isn't like that.
It has to be the same.
Well, that's true. That just kind of complicates matters, you know, with the discussion last night. ADUs are a permitted use on A1s, A2s, and ARs. A permitted use. Yet last night, we got way off in the weeds. If that one didn't need to be rezoned last night, and they came in and wanted a permit, they would have been granted a permit. The only reason they got denied was because it needed to be rezoned.
Mm-hmm. To come in.
I mean, to me, the whole thing is just,
Yeah.
it's messed up. And I'm glad that CPL is going to be looking at it with us.
Can I ask your concern with having another home on the same piece of property?
Well, if that's the case, then we don't need the statement up here about one single-family dwelling will be allowed on the lot. We're skirting around the intent of our policy in having one. I mean, we're virtually allowing two. If someone wants to come in and get a permit to build an identical home or a little smaller on the other end of the property, we permit them to do that. It's just like it's open season to build a second home on a parcel.
Well,
And I'm just wondering where we're going with that.
I think the reason we got into this and people started requesting all of this is because of our policies as far as having to have, again, we just go back to the 4-2, having to have all of this land in order to build something. So people are going to find a way around these ordinances.
Exactly, and that's what.
And that's exactly what they're doing.
Well, I'm not so sure it's finding a way around as much as it is. I mean, these things, I never heard of them. They're called an accessory dwelling unit. I mean, that's obviously the terminology. And I'm not sure about, exactly what accessibility, accessory means. I mean, I've been accessory to investigation. So, I mean, but these were called mother-in-law houses. I mean, that's what I've always known them as being, and I think that was the intent, and it's always, I don't think that would be anything that,
I agree.
I definitely think it needs to be smaller.
But to me, in a case like that, it complements the main home. It's part of, even though it's detached, it's kind of a part of the main home. But if someone wanted to rent out or build another home on another part of the property and rent it out, what's to say that they can't?
I think we need to set up if we gonna keep ADUs, we need to set up guidelines of what they can build and what they can't. That is, if we have, keep ADU. Just like Lee said, it should be consistent with the regular home, but a whole lot smaller, like a garage and apartment over it or something like that. That's something we need to set guidelines up, so where it is right now, they could build one just as twice as big as a regular home. But I always thought it's supposed to be smaller, but it wanted to say that in here.
Well, ADUs are, real estate, they are allowed in Georgia. And they are supposed to be, they can be attached or detached. And they're considered something with their own kitchen, their own bathrooms and everything. But, we should have guidelines, because they shouldn't be, like, some of them, they said that a detached shouldn't be, more than 800 square feet. That's a little home. You can have a home, a small home. That's why I said it shouldn't be bigger than the main dwelling, but it should be where someone else can live. Like, we have a lot of people, I mean, times are changing. People are living longer, but they need help from their children. So that's what an accessory dwelling, it assesses the main dwelling, but it's comfortable enough for someone to live.
I'm not against accessory dwelling units, I'm just saying that what we're calling accessory dwelling units, to me, is more than what it traditionally is.
So you talk about more.
I'm just saying that we need to define accessory dwelling units.
Yeah.
And we should have rules, guidelines of how big it should be and stuff like that. Is that what you're saying? That's what, okay.
It's not.
That's something we need to come up with, the guidelines of what it is, because just like they said, you come in and build that we had one, down on 49 a couple of years ago, where we put an ADU on down it, and his house is just as big, if not better than the dad's house.
Well,
I guess accessory dwelling unit should be defined as to, we should have guidelines of what's accessory dwelling, but I guess the thing that bothers me is if I've got 10 acres of land and I got a house, why are y'all telling me I can't put another house on the other end? What?
So that's where I thought you were going with it. That's why I was asking what is the problem, but he's saying he doesn't have a problem with it, we just need to define it.
Yeah, okay, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's already defined in Georgia.
If you allow a second one, then what about a third one? I mean, where do you draw the line?
No, you don't allow.
Well, we did define it by saying one.
Typically, it's one dwelling per parcel. I mean, that's kind of the rule. Unless you have things identified where an accessory dwelling unit complements the main home in some way, not just an independent home where you've got two full-fledged homes on one parcel. I mean, that defeats the original policy of having one parcel per. Does that make sense?
It does and it doesn't, because it depends on the parcel, I've got 100 acres. If I want to put my kid on the other end of 100 acres,
Why can't you?
Yeah, why?
Well, you know what, it might be appropriate for large acreages like that to have special things, but what about a 4-acre parcel, a 4-acre AR?
Yeah.
Is it okay to put put two independent units on a 4-acre?
These won't have a 2-acre lot.
Yeah, that's what I said, you will have 2 acres.
If it's two, it's okay.
But it says ADUs offer a flexible housing solution serving as an additional accommodation for family, friends, or tenants. This is in Georgia. Georgia already has that.
And you can rent it out.
Yeah, if you choose to. Yeah. Extra income. But I can see one dwelling on a small acreage, like 4 acres. And it couldn't be any larger than, like, they said, 800 square feet.
Well, I'm being fictitious, I could see 2 on 4.
Well,
if they were
no.
2 acres each.
No. You said,
Well, you voted for it.
no, I said 2 acres, yeah, you can have 2 acres. I thought they should go down to 2 acres, well, you said put 4.
No,
What did you say?
I said put 2 houses on 4 acres.
Oh, yeah, that's what I just said. I said that.
Well, and I'm in agreement, we should probably get some help from CPL.
Yes.
I just was kind of understanding it that you wanted to do away with ADUs, and I.
No, there is a place for ADUs,
Okay.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But defining what an ADU is and how big it can be and where it can be and all that, I can see that.
Yeah, and every county, every jurisdiction in their plans, they have, I mean, I haven't found anyone that doesn't have some provisions for an ADU. It's just that they're different than ours.
And it depends on how your lot is shaped too. You can't get ADUs on every 4 acre lot if you're.
Well, then the guy last night, he was asking for ADU, right? Well, with our present ADU requirements, did he fit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had everything. He was able to put one on his lot.
It was denied last night due to it not fitting the neighborhood. The 5 acre parcels with the nice homes on them and sticking a mobile home behind one of these big homes.
But it wasn't gonna be.
That's what it was based on. I'm just-
It was a matter, there's a difference.
Modular home, is that what you?
Yeah, there's a difference. Now I can see that one little trailer or something like that, but now these mobile homes are looking.
They don't make trailers anymore.
I know,
It's either a mobile home or a modular home.
Yeah, he even explained what he was going to do, break underpinning and
yeah, I mean, they look beautiful.
still.
Yeah. I didn't agree with it, but it wasn't my decision.
Well, we approved it, they
Well,
denied
I
it.
didn't either,
No.
you know, and I agree with Dennis. It didn't fit, but in that particular situation, you have to consider more than just a piece of dirt.
Well, if it doesn't fit, then why have it in your ordinance that it does?
Right.
Because it's not every property is cookie cutter,
One
so
of
it's like.
our 14 criteria to consider the
Mhm.
surrounding neighbors. It's just, maybe it's, I mean, who knows, there may have been some sort of mass, despondency over this, if
Oh, they'll go sue, there ain't no doubt about that.
Well, I just hope none of them have to put one in their backyard. They never get
So-
in a situation.
Well, I don't know of anything that needs to be recommended or done now, except do we need to address the issue that Christina had sent out about the square footage or the dwelling being smaller than the main dwelling? Didn't she send something wanting us to address that?
That has been brought out, we discovered that that's something that has been verbally said, but it is not in the ordinance, and it's not in the, I think it's ICC.
Well,
To me, it is in the ICC, and I'll tell you where. It says not more than 50% of the area of the primary dwelling unit, which tells me that it has to be smaller.
Okay.
I mean, it's
That's for attached.
right here. This is in the ICC that you just sent us.
Mm-hmm.
Right here it says, not less than 190 square feet, not more than 1,200 square feet, but not more than 50% of the area of the primary.
Okay.
So,
That would
does
probably
that answer
be.
that question?
But is that for an attached or
I think
detached?
she's.
Because I read in Georgia, attached is 50% of the main. It can't be more, but a detached, it has to be,
Yeah.
can't be more than
And
800
it's
square
specified,
feet.
does it specify on there, attached?
Well, we need to specify.
well, I'm gonna take the escape route. I'm gonna take the escape route. I think we need to leave it alone. Because if we recommend to change it, the commissioners can take this escape route. So we're gonna wait for the consultants to say, or to give us some recommendations. So rather than us going through all of this, as we did with the 4 acre to 2 acre thing, leave it alone until the consultants, who's gonna solve all of our problems, give us a recommendation.
Yeah, I don't know of anything that's imminent other than Christina had asked us to look at that specific thing because there had been some question about it with an applicant or something. I don't know. But anyway, to me, that answers the question.
I didn't get that email.
You didn't?
No.
I thought you sent us this.
Thank you, Chris, for saying.
I think that.
So, I mean, I could agree with me or not agree with me, that's my recommendation, that we don't know anything about it.
If they working on the ordinance right now, they don't need to doing something other than
Wait,
get turned.
I mean, the commissioners are not going to do anything at this point. They're not. They are not, because they're expecting the consultants to solve or to at least guide us in the way to solving all of our problems. So. But anyway.
But anyway, I was just trying to answer her question. She sent
Yeah.
it down through you, and I thought, do we owe her an answer?
Right.
If we do, then to me that answers it.
Yes, well, yeah, how do you interpret it, yeah.
It took me out to see.
Okay.
All right, number 3.
I'm sorry, so
Old
we're,
business, right?
we're wanting to recommend to leave it alone. Do we need a?
Do we need a vote, or if we need a vote, I'll make a motion that we table this until we get a recommendation from our consultants. If I need to make a motion, I'll do that. Second. Home session question? All right, Luke. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Yes.
We're going to some old business here.
Okay, next. Lordy, I think I'm really. Okay, the discussion to consider amending section 14.3.8.2 of the Madison County zoning ordinance regarding applicants' failure to appear for their scheduled Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing. Now, I did send out an email, as I had previously mentioned, and it was just stating that a portion of that first draft has to be stricken from this, and it was, let's see.
Well, Tricia, I wouldn't even worry about what was there. Let's just start about what is it now?
All right, so you should have a draft, minutes in there, and that's what we're proposing now.
Okay.
The original, the original one had, it had the verbiage up here. It says approve unless intents of use. And it was determined by our county attorney that, as a board, the board of commissioners can't say, well, we're gonna drop you down to a different zone, in some of their considerations. And so they can't do that because we have to do it as presented and as advertised. So that little bit of verbiage has to be struck through, deleted out. But, basically, we're just adding A refund shall be 50% of the application fee, and that's when we're doing the withdrawal. It's an application for an amendment to the zoning ordinance or the official zoning map. A request for a conditional use permit or a variance may be withdrawn by the applicant at any time prior to a vote to approve or deny by the Madison County Board of Commissioners. The withdrawal must be in writing and signed by the applicant or his or her authorized agent. So that was the verbiage that was in there prior, but we just added a refund shall be 50% of the application fee. Used to, you could get the whole amount, but it is only half now. And then...
Now, let me ask a question about that. The two people that came forward last night and said, I withdraw my request. They don't fit into this, right?
They get they're entitled to half off, so they get half of the money back. In fact, one of them already came in and we've done a refund request for $125.
Why is it only half if it's before?
Well, Chairman Higdon had advised that it's only half.
Well, we have fees involved, they've done work, we have to, you know, somebody's gotta pay for it, yeah.
Advertising.
Publications and the
Oh, so you
newspaper.
already did all
Yes,
that?
all of that
Okay.
has to be done.
I know it says it has to be in writing before it comes here, but just like you said, they had two come last night.
Well,
Should that be something other we added in there, they can withdraw without writing if they come before the board, wait for the board to get here?
well, the way I was advised is they did it before that vote was taken, so they went straight to the podium, said I'm withdrawing, and then they have opportunity to come into my office. I have a standard form that has the withdrawal, statement on it, and they just sign it.
So, I know, what it says, after, any time prior to vote approved, the withdrawal must be in writing and signed before, after his, her authorized agent. Would they need to have some wording in there that they can withdraw it right before the vote without the authorized agent signing? Because that said it must be in writing and signed by applicant. If they turn in something other signed, but they need something other to withdraw it the day of the vote, or
I mean, that is preferred, but
or is that something other we just overlook the signed part if they want to withdraw that night?
and also what was taken out that was in the original need, so this might answer it. If the application or request is withdrawn prior to a vote by the planning commission, the applicant request fee will be refunded and there shall be no restriction on the refiling of the same or another zoning change, application, or request of the property in the future. If the application request is withdrawn after vote by planning and zoning commission, the fee shall not be refunded, and an application or request concerning the same property shall not be considered by either the planning and zoning commission or the board of commissioners until the expiration of at least 6 months immediately following the withdrawal. So that statement has been removed.
Right.
They took out the details.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's what Stephanie had recommended, said, you know, why would we make them wait 6 months?
I just didn't.
No, but it says, like he was asking, if they're standing up here before the vote and withdraw, does it need to be in writing? And here, she took out some details.
It actually can't be in writing unless we give them something prior to, or they you know.
I can tell you right now that if someone gets up before the Board of Commissioners in the public forum and says
Yeah.
something, that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it. I mean,
It should be on record.
Yes,
It's on record.
So that should be changed then.
Well, not necessarily, because
Well, it should include,
Our county
Well, they're making them
attorney
sign
reviewed it.
something afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
And our county attorney reviewed it and said, you know, it looked good to him. But, you know, I'll certainly,
It does say it has, you know, it says withdrawal must be in writing and signed by applicant and authorized agent. I think
Yeah.
paperwork follows.
Paperwork follows the announcement.
so that was with the, withdrawal. In the next section, 14.3.8.3, failure of the applicant, his or her authorized agent or attorney to appear before the Planning and Zoning Commission at the time and place of the scheduled public hearing convened to consider the application will constitute as a withdrawal. So if they do not show up, for our meeting, it is constituted as a withdrawal. But what's been added is the fee shall not be refunded, and an application or request concerning the same property shall not be considered until a new application is made. Failure to attend the scheduled public hearing before the Board of Commissioners will not be considered a withdrawal. So they can miss the, you know, the Board of Commissioner meeting. In fact, we had one that did it last night. So that was changed there. And then a new section number had to be given to 14.3.8.4, and that's postponement. Postponement of a scheduled public hearing for a zoning amendment, variance, or conditional use permit shall only be authorized by a majority vote of either the Planning and Zoning Commission or the Board of Commissioners at the time and place of the public hearing scheduled to consider the application. Where a date certain, I think they need to change that, but this was the original text. I think it means a certain date, where a certain date for the rescheduled public hearing was not announced at the time of such postponement. Adjacent property owners must be notified and an ad placed in the local newspaper of general circulation in Madison County, stating the date, time, and place of rescheduled hearing at least 1 week prior to such hearing. No additional fee will be required for such notification or newspaper ad, and what was added is if the applicant, his or her agent, or attorney request for postponed prior to the Planning and Zoning Commission's public hearing will be considered a withdrawal.
Now, if it's considered withdrawal, does that mean they get 50% of their money off?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it will need to say in that last sentence, hearing, public hearing, it will be is not present in that sentence, just be.
Do we need to accept this new?
It's just, discussion tonight, and we'll vote on it at our next public hearing on the 19th.
Is, on that 14.3.8.3, I know it says consider that new application made. Do they need to put something in there, is that it comes with the same fee? They don't get another refund, but it'd be charged again, double fee, be another fee
Yeah.
for that. Should there be something put in there for that too?
I can ask, Mr. Pruitt,
Are you saying a lesser fee?
No, the same fee, that the applicant comes in there and sees that, and don't get his money back, he said, I gotta pay again.
Yes.
Shouldn't have to
Well,
pay.
yeah, I mean, it's a new application, so it'd be the same.
so that kind of takes
A
care
new
of it.
application is made and the fee paid or something like that. Anybody- Yes, they have to pay it again.
A new application fee will be required.
Yeah, it's something like.
Tracy, can I ask you something
Can I
back
say-
on the 14.3.8, just for clarification, when they took out approve a less intensive use?
Uh-huh.
So what you're saying, those those old ones from last night, that they were gonna wait on the AR vote, basically, they couldn't have done anything, the Board of Commissioners could not have done anything with those last night, is what you're saying. Because they had to be as they were presented.
Exactly.
Right.
Mhm.
That makes sense. Because we just can't
Yeah.
change
it in the middle.
things in the middle of a meeting, but,
Right.
do you happen to know why those, I get why the first guy withdrew, do you know why the second one?
Yes, in fact, both of them were doing it for their daughters, both applicants. And they had just decided not to live on the property. It's kind of a.
I didn't know if they were instructed that it needed to go through that same process, or.
No, their children become uninterested in it. It's in the middle of everything, so.
Gotcha.
Well, you never know what the real reason is. I'm wondering if because of the neighbors having such a fit and all that,
Mhm.
it ain't worth it.
Yeah.
Forget it, just forget it, it's not worth it. So, that may be the reason, it may not have been.
So they had two that, withdrew.
Yes.
And then T, she was the third postponement, the first two withdrew, and she was afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other two probably would have.
I believe they would have, if they wouldn't have withdrawn. Maybe not long.
You never know. You never know. Anything else need to come forth tonight? No? Take a
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Everybody have a good afternoon, good evening.
You too. You have a subject in mind.
God.
I had to remind you, didn't you?
You gotta remind me. Paul,